Hey everybody, hope you're having a great day. Before we get started with today's video, I want to thank everybody. We have reached 18,000 subscribers. This is above and beyond anything I ever would have thought for this channel. So now the push is on to get to 20,000. Also, I want to remind everybody you can become a member to the channel now for just 99 cents a month. Beginning January of 2023, the MVP, VIP, and Pro will all disappear, and those perks will be transferred over to the eBuzz Central member, which is only 99 cents a month. It's a good way to support the channel and a good way to support the content that you like. Now, today we're going to be covering a distribution that I haven't looked at in over a year. As a matter of fact, let's just get to the website. I ran this operating system for 5 years. Didn't have any problems, loved every minute of it. It was a love-love relationship for me. And then last year, matter of fact, a year ago, it became a love-hate relationship. So what I wanted to do was actually download it, open it up in a virtual machine, and see if some of the things that I had issue with are taken care of. If you come to the website, which is manjaro.org, I'll be sure to include that link in the description below. This is the screen you're met with. It just basically says Manjaro OS is for everyone. Manjaro has no adverts, licenses, or fees. It respects user privacy, empowers them with full control over their hardware. It can be used for development, gaming, 3D, office, or home. It can be installed on tablets, mobile desktops, laptops. And if you scroll down a little bit, it says, let us handle your OS integration. As you can see, they're starting to sell a little bit of hardware as well. So, does that mean that some of the software is going to take a hit because they're more concentrated on hardware? I don't know. Just my personal opinion. And then you come down here and it says Linux software. Linux promotional software available in Manjaro. Every purchase helps funding the project. I don't have a problem with this. I think if you can get an affiliate sponsorship, you should be able to do it. But at the same time, I think if you have something already pre-installed on the OS that's doing the exact same thing as something you have listed on your page that you're trying to sell, that's kind of a conflict of interest in my personal opinion. If you're pushing the open source and the freedom of being an open source, I don't think you should have something contrary to what you already have in your operating system. And I'll go over that in a second. And what I'm pointing out specifically is SoftMaker Office. And then we can scroll down and it's got privacy policy, terms, and use. Now, if you want to download, you can go up here and click on the download button. And it'll open up this page right here. It says choose your edition. What is an edition? Is Manjaro better than other distros? How is software availability? You got the official editions, which are the Plasma, the XFCE desktop, and GNOME. And then you also got ARM versions, which is GNOME, Plasma, Mate, Minimal, Sway, and XFCE. And then community editions, you've got Budgie, Cinnamon, i3, Sway, Mate, Manjaro, and then, of course, the Manjaro manual. Now, the community edition, as you can see, has a Mate version, just like they have on the ARM edition. So I don't understand why they wouldn't go ahead and just put an official Mate version out. Personal opinion, that's just my feelings there. I don't know. That'll be up to y'all. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. But what I did is I downloaded the version that I used to run for almost 5 years, which is the Plasma desktop. And let's zip on over and take a look. Now, if you download Manjaro, throw it on a USB, put it in a virtual machine, boot into it, this is the screen you're going to be met with. You're going to get the Welcome to Manjaro screen, which I love on every distribution that has it. The welcome screen, I think, just makes things easier for people that have never used a distribution before or brand new people that are coming over from like a Mac or a Windows setting. It gives you a lot of information right here. You got documentation, README, release info, wiki, support. You've got forums, software and mailing list, project, get involved, development, donate, and then of course you can launch the installer. It comes with the Calamares installer. Let's go ahead and click on that and I'll open it up for you so you can see. And this is your installer right here. It's just basic, welcome, location, keyboard, partitions, users, summary, install, and finish. So that's your basic Calamares installer. Let's exit that. And then up here, it lets you know that you're running Rua 21.3.7. Now I'm going to go ahead and close out of the window. You get this wallpaper right here. That's one thing I can say about Ubuntu. with every new release of Ubuntu, you get a fresh wallpaper. I think we're going on 2.5 years of this wallpaper with Manjaro. It's getting kind of dated. I think it's about time they might want to update that, but that's something minor. I know a lot of you will blow up my comments. Wallpapers don't matter. We can change them. I understand that. But if you're releasing something fresh and new all the time, don't you want to keep it updated, fresh and new? Just my personal opinion. I'm not here to badmouth. I'm just here to say there's things that make people want to try different things, and that's usually a fresh look, a new feel. Just my opinion. You got one panel on the bottom down here. It's got date and time. And this is another thing. I'm not complaining, I promise you guys, but I think the panel, when it comes out of the box with Manjaro, has just got too much stuff down here. Maybe hide some of this, maybe remove some of it. Like I said, personal opinion. You've got hidden icons right here. You've got notifications, Manjaro setting manager, clipboard, night color control, lock key status, KDE Connect, internet, USB that's plugged in, Bluetooth, battery, sound. You've got a drop-down terminal right there. If you like using that, you can. You can have a shortcut key for that. I don't think you really need to have it pinned on the panel. Just my personal opinion. And then, of course, your system is up to date. Then the Manjaro News applet, which is Matre. You can click on it and open it up, and it will give you a full listing of things that's updated in the news and things like that. Generally speaking, it's got pretty old information in it. One of the first things I used to do was always just delete it off the tray, delete it out of auto startup, and delete it off my system. Then you've got your separate windows right here, and then, of course, show your desktop right here. Now, if you want to, you can right-click here, enter an edit mode. You could make this panel bigger, smaller. Go ahead and click on more options. And are we using an older version of KDE? Probably because I downloaded the ISO. And let's go to settings real quick. Let's check this out. See what version of KDE we're using. Let's go down to About. And we are using version 5.24.6. So obviously that should update after you install. But I don't know why they don't have a fresher ISO, because this KDE Plasma version is 5.24.6. So this is quite old. That is a really old version of KDE Plasma, to be quite honest. You think they might want to update their ISOs on their website every now and then, because everybody knows that you download an older ISO and you go in and you get all them updates, whether it's like 600 or 700 updates, things tend to break. And that's what we're going to look at real quick. Let's go over and see what we're looking at in updates, how many it's showing that we should have. Add and remove software. Let's go ahead and open up PayMac. Let's see what kind of updates we're looking at. It says it's up to date. That's odd. Usually it says I've got like 696 updates. Something isn't quite right, because this should have a ton of updates coming to it. So I'll close out of that. But anyway, if you right click on the screen, you can of course change your wallpaper, configure your desktop, configure your wallpaper. Let's just go with something different. I want something not that big green mountain in the background, because like I said, that is extremely dated. Let's go with something kind of fun. Let's just go with that. That one's a little dated as well, but at least it's not the green background. Then you come over here, you've got your add and remove software, which we were just in. Now here comes another one of my issues with Manjaro. I'm going to slide this over. Let's go over here and go ahead and let's go to settings. And if you come check settings out and you go to about this system, it shows you're running kernel version 5.15.6-1 Manjaro, which is a Manjaro custom kernel. Now, if you come over here to your PayMac, one of the first things I do on most of the distributions that I use, whether it be Garuda or any distribution that's using an updated kernel, which is a rolling release, I'm getting the most updated kernel when it comes out, and I'm using it. A lot of people say, don't do that, you're going to break your system. Haven't broken my system with Garuda in a year now. Every new kernel that comes out, I do it, I'm good to go, and I use the AUR. Where you're going to run into some problems is if you come over to preferences over here and go to third party and enable your AUR on Manjaro, Manjaro holds updates back. They hold packages back. So what that means is is you're going to download some applications from the AUR that are going to break. Point blank, period. That's what's going to happen. A year ago, I actually started using some items from the AUR in my Manjaro install. And my system, for the first time in 5 years, just went ballistic. It broke. I had issues left and right. If you're using Manjaro, I highly recommend you do not enable the AUR. For the simple fact is you're going to have packages break. For the simple fact that Manjaro holds packages back, and that's when breaks happen. Just giving you a heads up there. So if you do this, if you download Manjaro, do not enable the AUR. This is PayMac. This is where you come in and you want to install software. This is where you come. You can just come up here. You could do a search for something like Kden Live. Hit enter, and it'll bring up Kden Live right here. It shows the AUR, and it doesn't show the official repositories. Let's go over here. So that's one of the reasons I'm not showing updates, is because it's not actually pulled that information down yet. So I'm telling you right now, this is going to have about 700 updates. It's going to take a while. My personal opinion, you need to have a little bit more updated ISO on your website. That's all I'm saying. I mean, even with Garuda, what's nice about Garuda is when you do get it, everything is going to be up to date. Not necessarily with the ISO. You're going to probably have 200-300 packages that need to be updated. But because Garuda is using the most up-to-date Linux kernel, you're not going to have that chance of something breaking. Just my opinion. And just my experience, because I have experienced no problems in any version of Garuda I have ran in the last year. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of PayMac. And then we can come back over here. This is your base settings. You can come over here. You can change your appearance. You can change it to dark, light. You can pretty much do everything you want to do from right here. As a matter of fact, if I close out of that and open it back up, it should give you the option to go from a dark mode and light mode. Let's go ahead and go to a dark. There we go. Pops right up. And you get a nice dark appearance. And then you can go over here. You can pick global themes. If you don't like those, you can go down here and get new ones, just like you can with icons, fonts. You can change your fonts if you wanted to make your fonts a little bigger, which I generally do because I'm hard of seeing and I have to wear glasses. I'll go ahead and bump those up to 12 and apply those. And everything changes across the board. And then, of course, like I said, you've got your general settings down here. Now, you do have a kernel option here, and once you actually install it, it gives you a lot of different versions that you can run. Now, if you want to run the most recent Linux kernel, you can, but remember, at the same time, this is Manjaro, so you would be running the most recent kernel that you've installed, but then your packages for some of your applications are being held back, so that new kernel and those older packages might break your system. Just letting you know, giving you that heads up in advance. Now I want to go ahead and close out of this. We come down here, you got Firefox as your web browser, and then of course you have your console. Let's go ahead and open that up. And I want to see if they have NeoFetch installed. Let's go ahead and do that real quick. Let's make it bigger. And then of course, let's go ahead and make it bigger so you can see it. And it lets you know Manjaro Linux, you're running 5.15.60-1-Manjaro. You're running Plasma Breeze. You're running the Plasma 5.24.6. When it updates, that may update to 5.25. If it does, that gives you a lot more options of things you can do with the KDE desktop environment, which I'm pretty sure it will update. I may have to just do a test install on an older piece of hardware to see if it does that, but that's just a heads up right there. Now I want to see if we've got HTOP on here. Let's go ahead and open that up. Right now I've got 3 gigabytes of RAM issued to this machine. We're using about 835, which is pretty normal. Most of the KDE and GNOME desktops I'm using nowadays run between 800 to 900 megabytes of RAM, which is still pretty lightweight in my opinion. No, it's not running 200 or 300 megabytes like some other distributions, but I like my desktop to look good. I like the KDE. I like the functionality. I just like the overall aesthetic and look of it. So that way I'm willing to give up a little bit more RAM to do that. Just don't forget, I've got 2.93 gigabytes issued to this machine. That's generally what it takes just to be open on a Windows desktop. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of that. And then, of course, you've got your file manager over here, which is Dolphin. This is a very feature-rich file manager. You can do a lot with this. You can make a lot of changes. You can customize it. You can go over here. You can hide some of these entries so you ain't got to see them. And then, of course, you can come down here, right-click, go to icon size. You can make those icons a little larger if you want to. So you pretty much got a great control over it. I do like the overall aesthetic. I like the darker green that they use on the OS. I think it makes it pop a little bit more as opposed to the lighter green. But like I said, that's more of a personal opinion. Close. Then we can come down here to the app launcher. You've got a lot of different things. If you like this app launcher, you can stick with it. If you want something a little different, you can go over here and you can show alternatives. You've got an application dashboard. You can switch to that. And then when you open it up, it takes up most of your screen. Now, if that's not something you like, you can also back out. You can go over here. Sorry, hit the wrong button. Show alternatives, and you could go with something like the application launcher. Switch to it. It gives you that old classic one like we're used to seeing. Then you could also right-click, show alternatives, go to an application menu, which is more of a Mate type look. Or you can even go to something like a simple menu and switch. And then it just gives you the lighter weight looking simple menu. That's really up to you, your personal preference and what you want to use. I'm going to go ahead and just go to the dashboard. And when you open up the dashboard, you go through here, recent, all applications, development, graphics, internet, multimedia, Office. Now, this is what I want to touch base on Office. On their website, they have SoftMaker Office. You can buy it. When you buy it from their website, they get kickback money. Of course, it goes towards the project that is now not only an operating system, but also trying to sell hardware. And then when you actually use the operating system, they give you only Office, which is a great Office tool. It lets you do Word, it lets you do Excel, it lets you do presentations. They got the brand new PDF features that come with it. It's a great Office suite, and it's free. It's open source, and it's on their operating system. And then when you go to their website, they're trying to sell you SoftMaker Office, which is not free, and it's not open source. So here's my question. If you're really into open source and you want to push the open source agenda and you want to be there in the Linux community, pushing your products, pushing your open source operating system, pushing your hardware that comes with your open source operating system, and you're using OnlyOffice on that open source operating system, wouldn't you give OnlyOffice some love? That's just my opinion. I don't mind people making money to support their development. I really don't. But this right here kind of clashes. OnlyOffice on the OS, SoftMaker on your website. If you disagree with me, please let me know about it in the comments below. Then you've got your settings, you've got your system. We've already looked at HTOP. It comes with time shift, so you can make snapshots of your system should you have any problems in the future. Utilities. You've got your HP device manager for printers right there, Spectacle for screenshots, lost and found, and then your power session, of course. But that is a quick look at Manjaro. And if you notice down here, in that amount of time, it looks as though I've lost some of my icons. I don't know where they may have disappeared to, but I am in a virtual machine. That does happen sometimes, so I'm not going to lay that at the feet of anybody. In closing, Manjaro for me for 5 years was it. It was a love-love relationship. And then a year ago, it became love-hate. Not only were there issues with the operating system in and of itself, there were issues with the developers towards the community, which I hear they're trying to fix some of those at present. But I believe that Manjaro has pretty much become the Ubuntu of the Linux world, which means what used to be great and what used to be fresh has become more corporate and become more cut off from the community. And they've kind of pulled themselves away from that community. And I think it's damaging their relationship with that community. If you disagree with me, let me know in the comments below. Now, Manjaro, is it something you might download? Is it something you might take for a test drive? Is it something you might switch to and want to use on a daily basis? If you do, don't forget, don't use the AUR. It's going to cause you problems. And if you do take it for a test drive, or if you do switch to it, please come back and let me know all about it. Please do me a favor before you leave today. Please like, subscribe, or follow my channel. The more likes I get keeps me in YouTube's algorithm, which means the information you just saw in this video If it was helpful to you, it can be helpful to somebody else. And subscribe. Doesn't cost anything. And if you end up not liking me, you can always unsubscribe. If you like the channel and enjoy the videos that we are producing, we are on 3 separate platforms: YouTube, Utreon, and Odyssey. And you can become members on all 3. On YouTube, it's only 99 cents. On Utreon, it's $2.99. And on Odyssey, it's $4. You can also buy us a cup of coffee, maybe go over to PayPal and throw us a donation, or go to Patreon and become a patron to the channel. All those links will be in the description below. As always, thank you so much for watching my video, and I will see you in the next video.